February 27, 1884. The fiery creature stood motionless in the chamber's corner. Martin moved toward it and let out a blast from his shotgun, but his aim was wide. The lumbering beast moved toward Martin and attacked him with its powerful limbs. Martin avoided the strike, but he was wounded by a drop of magma that dripped from the beast's arms. Suddenly, two creatures moved behind Martin from the shadows. They were ghost-like corpses of the dead. The ice-cold touch of the specters caused a wound to Martin's arm. I ran into the chamber and attacked the souls of the damned. I struck at their ethereal bodies with my fists, and one of them shrieked and quickly dissipated. Martin disengaged from the lava man and moved into the corner of the chamber and fired. His shotgun blew off much of the brute's chest, and the creature writhed in pain. The giant stone beast swung its massive arms at Martin, but he easily moved out of the way. Then the remaining specter turned to me and attacked, but I avoided its icy touch. I quickly subdued the remaining specter with a strike from my fist as I lit a stick of dynamite. I threw it to the left of the creature and it detonated with a massive explosion, reducing half of the beast's body to rubble. Martin gave the creature a powerful kick with his leg, and what remained of the hellish creature came crashing to the floor. We were overjoyed to have prevailed against the powers of the underworld and saved the town of Woods End.
Good evening, and welcome to the Solo Gamers Club. Tonight we'll be playing our campaign playthrough of Shadows of Brimstone. This is Season 3, Episode 8. Before we begin, I have a few corrections from the previous video. I had quite a few errors in that video, and I'm not very pleased about that. One of them was when we were combating the souls of the damned. Both heroes should have tested for fear at one point or another during that battle. So what I'm going to do to help to rectify that is I'm going to give each of the heroes 1 point of sanity damage, and that would assume that they would have failed one of those tests. And I think that's a fair and equitable way to do it. If the error is on my part, it should be in favor of the game and not the heroes. Another one was when enemies are activated and they have the same initiative, the player doesn't get to choose which one moves first. It should have been done by a random roll. So in the future I will remember that. And then also, in the way that that battle happened, particularly against the Souls of the Damned, those should have been awarding 25 XP each instead of the 10, which would be the standard amount for a Hungry Dead. But as I messed up that combat, I'm actually going to return the 20 XP that Lannie earned from that fight, because that just did not proceed the way it should have. So I'm going to return the 20 XP that she earned from that fight, and I think that will help to kind of balance things the way they should have been. Well, in the previous video, Martin earned enough XP to level up to level 2. So that's what we're going to do right now before we undertake our overland travel. So Martin is going to spend 500 XP, and that's going to allow him to upgrade his character. That'll leave Martin with 35 XP, and he's going to gain level 2. So the posse right now is going to be a level 2 posse. He's going to fully heal health and sanity, and then he's going to be able to roll for his upgrade bonus. We're going to consult the U.S. Marshal upgrade bonus table, and that's going to involve a 2d6 roll, and that will give some benefit to Martin's character. So we're going to make a 2d6 roll and see what he's going to gain from this. Okay, here is the roll. He rolled a 7, and that's plus d6 health and plus d6 sanity. Okay, that's good. Okay, we're going to make a roll then for his health roll, and that's going to be plus d6 health. And he scores a 6. That is great. That is going to move Martin's health up to 16. And now we're going to roll for his sanity, plus d6 sanity. and he got a 4. So that's going to move his sanity up to 14. Okay, I'm going to make those notations. And now Martin's going to be able to select his U.S. Marshal upgrade from that chart. And we have 4 basic columns that we can select from: Traveler, Resolve, Honor, and Bounty Hunting. And I've kind of looked at this as carefully as I can, and I'm going to go with the Traveler column, and we're going to select a story to tell. You gain extra movement each turn equal to your lore. And that's going to also add +1 to his lore. So his lore will go from 1 to 2, and that's going to give him a +2 bonus to movement. And I think that would be very helpful for him in the mines. Before we begin tonight's episode, I just wanted to point out that I've posted an update to the rules at BGG, and I'll provide a link for them for those that are interested. I'll put that in the notes section of the video. And the file includes the revised rules file and a revised campaign map. In that campaign map, the changes there are only that we have changed the towns of Fringe and Listina to general towns instead of the rail towns, as I had discussed in a previous video. The majority of the changes to the rules section are in sections 7 and 15. Those are the primary ones that have changed. And section 15 is primarily optional rules. I have some rules that about starting town NPCs instead of using the NPCs that I have in the Atlas. This is a way to find out how many NPCs are in each of the towns. Another one is horse traits. Horses were so important to the Old West that I thought this might be a way to give them a little bit of character to them. And another section is some additional background for characters, and that basically has to do with tables as to where the characters were born, some cultural traits that they might have possessed, and some formative experiences that they might have had prior to starting the campaign. And it basically is meant to flush out mostly for narrative purposes, but I do provide a small benefit to each region around the country that the characters might be from, and it's somewhat thematic as best as I could. And that's something that you might want to take a look at. And I do have something else called a trait table that's really not meant to be used during gameplay per se. It's mostly giving keywords a positive trait and a negative trait, and that's just something that might be useful in if someone was to be writing up a narrative account of one of their playthroughs. You could use those as some keywords as to how a character might react, or something of that nature. Okay, we're ready to begin our playthrough. The posse has just completed their mission at Terek's Peak, and they're going to head back to Wood's End, and they're going to try to resupply themselves and maybe purchase some equipment. So we're going to select our travel path. We'll take that light brown path from Terek's Peak back to Wood's End, and then we'll shift over to the overland travel display. We're at the overland travel display. We've selected our travel path, and it's a light brown path. Our guide today is going to be Martin. He's fully healed, and we'll have him take over the duties of guide. And he's going to select a travel pace of normal, and that's going to require 2 rations for the posse to remain in supply. Martin's going to donate 1, and Lannie will donate 1. That'll keep them in supply for this travel cycle. And now we're going to make our overland travel roll. All right, we're going to roll a D8 and see what happens to them on their travel. Okay, they rolled an 8, and that's going to be modified to a 9. We're mounted, and that is going to produce no hazards. So they are going to just simply arrive at Wood's End. All right, the date is February 29th, leap year, 1884. And I forgot one thing during our overland travel. I should have rolled to see if Lannie was able to heal anything on the road while they traveled. So we're going to make a roll for her on an on an even roll. She's allowed to heal 1 point of sanity or wound damage. Okay, here's the roll. And she did. She rolled an even, so I think I'll have her heal a sanity damage. That'll bring her sanity damage down to 2 out of 11, and she's holding 3 wounds out of 12 health. All right, we'll start off with fresh supplies. It says at the start of every day in town, each hero may draw a gear card. That is a special deal that is offered to them by a street vendor. All right, so the first one will be for Lannie, and that one is War Paint. Gear Tribal. Discard during a fight. Until the end of that fight, you are +1 combat and +1 initiative. If keyword tribal, you are also +1 damage on all of your attacks until the end of the fight. And that has a listed value of $250. So we'll mark that for Lannie right now, put her token on that. And then that would be available for her to purchase at from a street vendor. So we'll put that off to the side. And then the next one would be for Martin. That one is a Lucky Bowler. Gear, Charm, Clothing, Hat. Whenever a depth event is rolled while holding back the darkness, you may recover a grit on a d6 roll of 3 or greater. That's $350 list price. And we'll mark that for Martin. All right, we'll see if maybe they might get involved in purchasing those. Okay, now we have Hustle and Bustle. We need to draw 2 daily event cards for each day while we're in town. We'll give our daily events deck a cut and draw the first of 2. Here's the first one. A no good, very bad day. Town daily event. With all that has been happening lately, how could things get any worse? You had to ask. Immediately roll once on the town event chart. Do not reset the darkness marker on the town event track for this. Okay. We'll need to make a 2d6 roll and consult the town event chart and see what befalls us. Okay, here's the roll. We rolled a 10, and that's the end is nigh. People are stocking up on supplies and weapons, feeling like the next big attack could come at any time. All prices in town are +$50 due to the increasing demand. All right, we'll make a note of that. All right, I've made a notation of +$50 so I can help to remind myself. And you know, the only thing I'm having a problem with is whether or not that should include the hotel price. I mean, I don't know about that. That would put the hotel at $60 per person. It does say all prices in town are +$50 due to the increased demand. And it does talk about stocking up on supplies and weapons. So I don't know if that's going to apply to the hotel or not. I'm going to think about that for a second. Yeah, I think I'm going to just house rule that, and we're going to have that $50 be applicable to, you know, purchasing items, not for the hotel. That wouldn't, I don't think that would make a whole lot of sense. So we'll do it that way. So it'll be +$50 for all purchases in town. All right, here's our second daily event. And that one is Rolling Tumbleweed. Town daily event. Just another day on the frontier of the Wild West. Tumbleweed and wide open sky as far as the eye can see. Every hero may heal up to 2 sanity damage. If in a specialty town, roll once on the daily events chart for that type of town. Okay, we are in a specialty town, so we'll be doing that. Lannie would be able to actually use that and heal 2 sanity damage, so that's actually a benefit to her. That'll fully heal her sanity. Well, after further review, I decided I'm going to play it as it's written. So I'm going to, if it says +$50 to all, $50 increase on all prices, it's all prices. So the hotel is going to be $60, and we're going to play it that way, I think. We do have to make a daily event roll now, so we're going to take care of that. And it'll be a D6 roll and see what happens. Okay, here's our roll. We rolled a 4, and that's, oh, they'll pay. The local rail baron tightens his grip on the town. For the rest of the town stay, gear cards from the fresh supplies cost plus $100. All right, well, that's pretty much going to price us out of any of those things, it looks like. All right, now we're going to have to make our decision for our accommodations. And I think we're going to risk staying at the campsite. So both players are going to move to the campsite, and we'll have to make a roll there. Hopefully nothing bad will befall us. All right, each of the heroes is going to have to make a 2d6 roll and consult the campsite hazard chart. We'll start out with Martin. Okay, he rolled an 8, and that is uneventful night. It's an uneventful evening of drunken debauchery and raucous songs around the campfire. No effect. All right, and then Lannie will have to make a roll. She rolled an 11, and that's also uneventful night. Okay, so we actually were able to dodge the bullets there. Now we're able to pick out a spot in town that we want to visit. All right, I looked over the heroes' options, and I think what we're going to do is this. Lannie is going to remain at the campsite and rest up. That will allow her to roll a d3 and heal that many points of wound damage. Martin is going to go to the general store, and that will allow him to, I want him to purchase some dynamite. All right, Lannie is at the campsite. She's resting up, so that'll allow her to roll a d3 and heal that much wound damage. Okay, here's her roll. She rolled a 2, so that's going to heal 2 wounds for her, and that will bring her wound damage down to 1 out of a health of 12, so that's pretty good. Now Martin is going to visit the general store. We'll make his 2d6 roll on the general store location event chart. And he rolls a 9. That says fire sale. The shelves are fully stocked, but it's practically a ghost town out there. All purchase prices are reduced by $50. Cancels out cost increase. All right. So that's going to kind of counteract that plus $50 that we had from that town event. So the prices are basically going to be as listed. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Martin purchase a dynamite, a whiskey, and a bandage. And that's going to cost him a total of $300. And that's going to leave Martin with $235 in cash. And now we're going to make our rumor token draw, and that has been determined to be a special event. And special event reads, a special event indicates that a member of the posse has been confronted with an unusual event. Randomly determine which member of the posse is involved in the event, and then roll on this special events table to determine what has occurred and resolve it. Return the token to the pool. All right, well, we'll make an odd-even roll, and we'll say Lannie is odd, Martin is even. That'll determine who's involved. It's an odd roll, so that's going to be Lannie. All right, Lannie is going to make a d12 roll, and then we're going to consult that table. Okay, and that is an 8. And that reads, remove a random NPC from a random hero's personal NPC list. All right. And I guess that would represent maybe them having some type of confrontation with that person in town. So we're going to make an odd-even roll and determine who that is. Odd for Lannie, even for Martin. And it's going to be Martin, so we're going to have to randomly remove one of his personal NPCs. And I've determined that to be a shopkeeper named Ivor McCain. He's in Coonrat's Claim. He had a neutral alignment to the posse with a cunning of 1. So he gets scratched off that list. All right. And now we need to make our end of day roll. And we're going to compare that with days last since an event. So on a roll of 1, we'll have a town event. We did not. All right, so that's going to end our day in town. We have to decide if we're going to stay or leave. And I have a plan. And we're going to go to the campaign map, and I'll outline that. We're back at the campaign map, and this is the travel plan that I have. I want to undertake the Swamps of Death mission, Night of the Dead. That's in Scroggs Bog. Now that's a long ways away from us. So in order to handle that, what I'm going to do, it involves a multi-tiered plan. First plan would be for us to take rail movement from Woods End to Stone's Crossing. We'll spend the day in Stone's Crossing. We're going to make overland movement to Larberg's Landing, which is a river town. And then from there, we're going to use river travel to go to Cito's Mill. And then we will stay there for a day, make sure we're fully supplied up, and then we're going to travel to Scroggs Bog and undertake the Swamps of Death mission. That's the plan that I have right now. So we're going to undertake that rail movement. That's going to cost us $40 per person plus $50 because of that price increase that was happening at Woods End. So each player is going to have to pay $90, and that is going to allow us rail travel to Stone's Crossing. It's March 1st, 1884, and the posse has arrived in the rail town of Stone's Crossing. They're currently at the depot. We've determined that the town is a small town. It has a doctor's office, general store, street market, and a church. And once again, it's a rail town, so there's fresh supplies coming in. So we're able to, each hero is able to draw a gear card, and it's a special offer available to them by a street vendor. This one is going to be Lannie's, and it is a Far Eastern potion. Gain 2 potion tokens, discard the card. Okay, that's interesting. That would cost her, treat no listed value as 0. So that would cost her $100 for 2 potion tokens. That's quite interesting. Okay, and then Martin's is going to be a Holy Charm. Gear Charm Holy. Discard this item to prevent all damage just done to you by demon or undead enemies, or discard this item to re-roll any single die, adding +1 to the roll. That has a $350 list price. Okay, we'll put Martin's token on that. Those kind of interesting items. All right, as this is a rail town, there's hustle and bustle, and we have to draw 2 daily event cards for each day that we're in town. We'll give our shuffled deck a cut and see what our first daily event is. And that one is Rolling Tumbleweed. Town daily event. Just another day on the frontier of the Wild West. Tumbleweed and wide open sky as far as the eye can see. Every hero may heal up to 2 sanity damage. Alright, none of our heroes have any sanity damage, but it does say if in a specialty town, roll once on the daily events chart for that type of town. Alright, we'll do that. Alright, there's our specialty town daily events chart. We'll roll a d6 on that and see what happens. Okay, we rolled a 3, and that says U.S. Army train. A train arrives at the station carrying a fresh battalion of troops for the local fort. You do not need to roll for a town event at the end of the current day in town. Well, that's absolutely fantastic. That's great. All right, I've made a notation of that for myself, and now we're going to take care of our second daily event card. And that's another Rolling Tumbleweed. Okay, so we're going to have to make another roll on that specialty town daily event chart. All right. All right, we'll make the roll. It's a d6. We rolled a 1, and that says the Hell Train. Rocketing through town in the night, the demonic Hell Train blows its whistle and sets the tracks ablaze in its wake. Every hero in town loses 1 grit and takes d6 horror hits. All right, well, that means Martin is going to have 0 grit right now. Lannie still has 1 grit left. She always has, with her Home Remedies card, she always starts, whenever she's able to replenish grit, she starts with an extra 1. So she still has 1 remaining. And now each of them are going to have to make a d6 roll and take that many horror hits. Okay, we'll start out with Lannie. She rolled a 1. Okay, so she's able to defend against that with a willpower roll. Her willpower is a 4. So she'll be able to roll a 4 or better. She can stop that. And she did, so no effect on her. And now we'll find out how many horror hits Martin's going to take. He rolled a 2, so he'll be able to roll 2 dice, and he'll be able to stop that from occurring on a 4 or greater. Okay, here's his roll. He was able to stop one of them, so he's going to take 1 sanity damage. That will move his sanity damage up to 1 out of 14. All right, and that's going to complete the special daily events. And now we're going to select our lodging, and both of the heroes are going to stay at the hotel. That's going to cost them $10 each. Now the heroes can make their visits to the town locations. Martin is going to go to the general store, and he's going to purchase some rations there and possibly some other stuff. Lannie is going to take advantage of that street vendor, and she's going to purchase those Far Eastern potions for, in this case, it would be $100. The product has 0 value, and so she'll be able to purchase 2 potion tokens for $100, and I think that's a pretty good deal. And those potion tokens will allow her to discard and add +2 to one of your skills, agility, lore, etc., until the end of the turn. So that could be quite useful if we run into a very difficult hazard or encounter while we're in the mines. So I think those are going to be really valuable tokens. All right, now we're going to take care of Martin's visit to the general store. And we'll begin with a 2d6 roll location event roll. Okay, here's his roll. He rolled a 9, and that says fire sale. The shelves are fully stocked, but it's practically a ghost town out here. All purchase prices are reduced by $50 to a minimum of $25. Cancels out cost increase. All right, well, that's really great. Now that price reduction called fire sale, it says that all purchase prices are minus $50 to a minimum of $25. Now that doesn't work well with rations, since the rations are going to be $5 a piece times the number of members of the posse. So I think what I'll do is whatever his purchase amount is, we'll cut that in half. So in this case, Martin's going to purchase 6 rations, and that's going to cost him $60 normally. So I'm just going to charge him $30 for those. I think that would be a fair and equitable way to handle that. So he's going to purchase 6 rations. And Martin already has 4 items in his side bag token, so that will only allow him to purchase 1 more. And I think what I'll do is I'll have him purchase a bandage, and that'll be $25 for that. And that will complete their town visits for the day. I've drawn a rumor token, and that ended up to be a no useful leads. So that's going to go back into the bin, and nothing else will occur from that. Okay, normally we'd be making our end of day roll, but because of that event, it says no town event roll will be needed, and that was due to that army train that came into town, providing extra protection. All right, then it's up to the posse to decide if they're going to leave town or remain, and they're going to leave. We're going to use overland travel and head for Larberg's Landing. We're at the campaign map, and the posse is going to conduct overland travel towards Larberg's Landing. So we're going to use that light brown path, and then we're going to switch now to the overland travel display. We're at the overland travel display. We're going to be using that light brown path. The guide for today is going to be Lannie. I'll move her up into the guide position. Martin will follow behind. We're going to set a pace of normal, so we're going to need to expend 2 rations, and each character is going to contribute 1 of those. And Lannie has 2 rations, and Martin has 5 now. So we're fully supplied. And now we're going to make our overland travel roll. That'll be a D8 roll. And we'll find out what we're going to be facing. We're mounted, so we'll be able to gain a +1 to the roll. Here's the roll. We rolled an 8, and that's modified to a 9. Again, no travel hazard, so we've arrived at Larberg's Landing without any problems. All right, it's March 4th, 1884, and the posse has arrived in the river town of Larberg's Landing. We've determined that Larberg's Landing is a small town. It has a thriving market, so there's a street market. The riverboat will provide an extra location, that's the gambling hall, and it also has a frontier outpost, Indian trading post, and a church. All right, it's also a wealthy town, so I've made notations for myself that the hotel is an extra $10, and then any transactions are plus $10. But also selling a Darkstone shard, we're going to gain an extra $10. So we might be doing that this turn because each of the heroes has 1 shard. One of the extra options of the river town is the Black Market Alley, and it says at the start of the town stay, roll 3 dice. For each roll of a 1, 2, or 3, draw a gear card. 4, 5, or 6, we draw a world card, and then an artifact from that world. These 3 items are available for purchase at the street market on a first-come, first-served basis. Okay, so we'll make that roll, and we'll have a 3d6 here. And find out what kind of cards we'll have on the Black Market Alley. All right, we've got a 3 and 2 6s, so we're going to have 1 gear card, and then it'll be 2 artifacts from a Worlds. Okay, the gear card was determined to be Outlaw Armor. It's gear, clothing, torso, and face. -1 agility, -1 initiative, but it provides armor 3+. Has a weight of 3 though, and it's $1,200, so I think that's going to be pricing us out of that. We'll draw the world cards and find out where the other artifacts are from. And the other 2 I determined were from Swamps of Jargono and the Blasted Wastes. The Jargono artifact is a Darkstone Axe. Artifact Jargono Darkstone Hand Weapon. Your combat hits are +2 damage. Whenever you kill an enemy with a combat attack, take 1 corruption hit. 2-handed weapon, $375 list price with 1 anvil. And then the Blasted Wastes card is a Reclamator. Artifact Blasted Wastes. You may discard 4 scrap tokens to gain 1 Darkstone or 1 tech token. Once per adventure, you may cancel a depth event, and that costs $350. Okay, we'll put those off to the side, and those would be available for purchase during their stay. And now we're ready to draw our daily event card. We'll give our deck a cut and see what we get. Okay, here is the card. Killer on the Loose. Town daily event. Every few days, another murder victim is found. At the end of each day in town, roll 3 dice. If any doubles are rolled, the killer has struck again. Every hero in town takes 2 horror hits that do 2 sanity damage each, and the darkness marker is moved 1 space forward on the town event track. If triples are rolled, the killer attacks one of the heroes instead. 1 random hero in town takes 2d6 wounds, ignoring defense. If KO'd by this, the hero is killed. At the start of each day in town, any hero may hunt for the killer, make a cunning 6+ test. For each 6+ rolled, gain 10 XP and place a wound marker on this card. If there are ever 5 or more wounds here, the killer is caught. Discard this card, and every hero that placed 1 or more wounds here gains 40 XP. Roll 1 extra die for the killer at the end of each day in town for every wound marker currently here. Whoa, okay, so, well, we're going to leave that out, and we'll definitely have to deal with that. All right, now we're going to have to select our lodging, and I think we're going to stay at the hotel. So both heroes will stay at the hotel. That's going to cost them $20 each because of the wealthy town aspect of this. So each hero is going to pay 20 bucks. That'll leave Martin with $60 in cash, and Lannie will have $110. And now we're able to select a location to visit, and I think both heroes are going to go to the Frontier Outpost, and they're going to attempt to sell their Darkstone there. All right, each hero is going to have to roll on the location event chart. This is the Frontier Outpost, and this will be Martin's roll. Okay, he rolled a 7, and that's Trading Post. A local prospector has returned from the mines with a strange artifact, and he's willing to part with it for a price. Draw a world card to determine where the prospector has been, and then draw an artifact from that world. The artifact may be purchased for D6 times $150. Okay, we'll find out what that is. Okay, that item was from the Blasted Wastes, and it's listed as a Wasteland Survival Gear. Artifact, Blasted Wastes, clothing, coat, face. Ignore weather effects and immune to poison. Once per turn, use 1 grit to heal D3+1 wounds or sanity, any mix. $725 list price. Well, we'll place that off to the side in case the heroes might want to consider that. And now we're going to make Lannie's roll. Okay, same chart. She rolled a 9, and that's Darkstone shortage. The Outpost Bank is willing to pay top dollar for Darkstone. You may sell your Darkstone shards for D6 times $50 each today. Cancels out Darkstone glut. All right. Well, we'll start out with Martin. We'll resolve his action at the Frontier Outpost. And the first thing is he's going to visit that Outpost Bank, and he'll sell his Darkstone shard for D6 times $50. So we'll make a roll there and find out how much he's going to get for it. Oh, 1. Okay, so he's going to get $50 for that. That wasn't so good. We'll give him $50 for his Darkstone. And then I guess since he's there, he's going to check out the bounty. It's free. We'll make a 1d6 roll and find out what we have a bounty on this turn. We rolled a 6, and that's slashers. $200 to every hero for each killed. Okay. All right, now Lannie is going to take her turn, and she's going to visit the Outpost Bank, and she's going to sell her Darkstone for D6 times $50. All right, so here is the roll. And she rolled a 1 too. I cannot believe it on those. All right, so she'll earn $50 for her Darkstone. And incidentally, each of them should have gained an extra $10 overall the price because of the wealthy town. So I'm going to give each of them an additional $10. All right, we've drawn our rumor token, and this time it's determined to be a City of the Ancients mission called Frozen Expedition. So we'll go to the campaign map and find out where that appears. All right, and that mission will appear in the South Sierra Magellans. All right, we've completed our town visits for today. So all we have left now is to roll to see if we're going to have a town event, and then also find out about the killer on the loose. So we'll start out with, it says here, at the end of each day in town. So we're going to take care of our end of day roll first, and we'll see what happens with that. On a roll of 1, we'll have a town event. Here's the roll. We rolled a 2, so we're safe with that. That's going to advance up to 2. And now we're going to have to roll 3d6. Roll 3 dice. If any doubles are rolled, the killer has struck again. So here's our 3d6 roll, and we'll see if there's doubles or triples. There are doubles. It says here that if any doubles are rolled, the killer has struck again. Every hero in town takes 2 horror hits that do 2 sanity damage each, and the darkness marker is moved 1 space forward on the town event track. So that's going to move up to 3. And each of us are going to take 2 horror hits, which we can defend. So that's what we're going to do. We'll start out with Martin. He has taken 2 horror hits. He'll be able to use his willpower to defend, and he has a willpower of 4. He defended 1, and the other one got through. He's going to use his bear claw, which allows him to re-roll a single willpower roll. Okay. And here's his reroll, and he passed that, so he's not going to take any damage from the effects of that killer on the loose. Now Lannie will roll. She has 2 horror hits from that, and her willpower is also a 4. And she passed one but failed the other. So she's going to take 2 sanity damage from that the stress of that killer on the loose. And that's going to complete our action for the first day at Larbird's Landing, and we have to decide on whether or not we are going to remain in town or if we're going to leave. And I think we're going to leave. Each of the heroes is going to pay $50 for river travel, and that will allow them to travel to any other river town on the map. In this case, because we're at plus $10 for being a wealthy town, that'll move that up to $60 each. All right, the posse has employed river travel, and that allows them to move to any other river space on the map. And they're going to move to Ceto's Mill, and that'll get them close to where they're intending to go for that Swamps of Death mission in the future. All right, I think I'm going to end the video here, and we're going to continue on with our next video with the posse just arriving at the port in Ceto's Mill. Thank you very much for watching and joining me at the Solo Gamers Club, and I hope to see you next time for more adventures in the Shadows of Brimstone. Have a good evening and good night.